I am feeling a bit lazy, but I still want to get something into my freeze dryer this week. So I have come to Costco and I'm looking for some convenience foods I can just dump onto my freeze dryer trays, freeze dry them, and then use them for meal prepping throughout the next couple of months. I've got an idea of 2 things already that I know I want to get, and then for my other 2 trays, we're just gonna let Costco decide for us. Let's head in. The first item I am buying is something that I've been really missing having on my prepper stash shelves. That is chicken, freeze-dried and ready to go. Did you know you can buy a rotisserie chicken at Costco that's already shredded? Yes, you are paying more, but for the convenience, today I'm gonna pay more. I'll let you know all the things I use my freeze-dried chicken for, but it's like a staple. Here's something I have never freeze-dried before, and I'm actually curious to see how the noodles would turn out after being in the freeze dryer. I think we should try this. It would be like an MRE all ready to go. And it's still gonna be cheaper than Mountain House MRE meals, and I think so much better. It's $14.79 and you're gonna get 2 pouches, which is at least enough for 4 servings. So the next thing I am getting is not really a food, it's more of a topping, a condiment, if you will. I hate making my own guacamole because in Alaska it's really hard to find ripe avocados, so I like to buy it already done at Costco. But then a lot of times I only use a little bit and then it goes bad in the fridge. So I've heard you can freeze dry guacamole and that it turns out really well. So we're gonna put this on one of our trays. Okay, and walking by, I already know what my last item is gonna be. Because it's on sale, this autumn squash soup. I got this last year. It's from Panera and it is so good. I think I'm gonna buy a pack for us to eat for lunch today and a pack to put in the freeze dryer. I love pumpkin, I love squash, I love all of those fall flavors. So this will be fun to try freeze drying also. As usual, I ended up with a cart full of food. So let's get this home and I'll show you how fast and easy it's gonna be to get these on my freeze dryer trays. I'm actually really excited and feeling very good about the fact that I don't have to do any cooking to prepare my freeze dryer today. I am actually so excited to see how all of these things turn out in the freeze dryer. I've got ideas on how I want to package them up when they're done. I think I'm mostly excited about the guacamole because I have heard that this freeze dries so well and reconstitutes amazingly. So this is gonna be a good one. And you guys, I have a huge update to fill you in on Mr. Freeze Dry's hunting trip because it did not go as planned. Ended up a huge disaster. None of his MRE meals got eaten. I will have to share you the story of what happened to him and his friends a little later on, maybe after I get these into the freeze dryer, because it was crazy and very sad. And I feel so bad for him that his trip didn't plan out the way he wanted to after all that preparation. So, story time soon. First things first, I am going to get my freeze dryer going from my phone. I did power it on when I was in the basement earlier grabbing my trays, but now I am going to get it started so that once I have all these on my trays, I can just throw them in. I'm doing -10 for my freeze temp. I am adding 1 hour of freeze time because I am not pre-freezing these. My dry temp, I'm gonna do at 120 degrees and I just need to hit start and my freeze dryer is gonna start up for me. This is because of the Wi-Fi dongle, which you can get the Wi-Fi if you have a Harvest Right Freeze Dryer Pro, which is the newer model of freeze dryers. So if you don't have one, check the link in my profile. That'll take you to their website and the Wi-Fi is like life-changing. I'm obsessed with it. I'm just gonna get these done one at a time. I am starting with, what should we start with? How about the guacamole? Guac is one of my favorite things ever. I just hate making it. So this is gonna be nice. And yes, a lot of people say, why don't you just freeze these things? You can freeze these. My problem is that when I use them, I will only use like 1/3 of it and then you have 2/3 left and then it goes brown in the fridge, which I hate that. And so you're wasting so much of the guacamole by not using it. So I'm gonna freeze dry it, package it in smaller portions, and then I can just have it whenever I want. So I'm using my ice cream scoop to scoop these into individual portion sizes, and this actually is gonna work out to be the perfect size that I would want to use just for like an individual meal. 1 tray down, 3 more to go. Let's do the soup next. I'm not gonna use a tray liner for the soup because I like to just scrape it straight out of the tray into my mason jar. I was able to fit 1.5 containers of this autumn soup onto my tray. I didn't want to overload it, and so I'm just gonna save the rest of the soup for lunch today because we had this yesterday for lunch also, and it was so good, especially with sourdough bread. I mean, nothing better, especially on a nice fall cool day. This is going so fast. I'm loving it. Okay, tray 2 is done. Now on to tray 3. We're gonna go with the chicken pad thai for tray 3. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna end up doing both pouches or just one. It'll just see how much room it takes up. Oh, it's pretty small. I think it would be fine for 2. Oh, I didn't realize the noodles came separately. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna keep these separate since these will stay dry and fresh a long time, and just freeze dry the pad thai's chicken sauce. Okay, yeah, I think that'll be better. You'll get a better noodle if I just keep these separate, because I think all you have to do is add hot water to these noodles. You don't have to like really boil them. Yeah, these can just soak in like hot boiling water and they will be fine. So that's gonna be the plan. This smells so good. I am so excited about this one. I am just keeping my 2 separate pouches separate on my tray so that when I go to package it up, it's a lot easier to put into the serving size. Each pouch serves 2, so I'm gonna have my MRE bags with 2 servings of the sauce each. I will have to do a copycat homemade recipe of this one day because this just looks and smells delicious. I would love to learn how to make it on my own, but for now, this is gonna be great. 1 tray left. All right, lastly is my hand-pulled shredded rotisserie chicken from Costco. This is about 3 pounds of shredded chicken, and these freeze dryer trays are only rated to hold like 2.5 pounds each. So I think I'm just gonna do half of this, and then I'll use the other half for like dinner tonight or something. And here is our chicken ready to go. That was so easy, besides part of it being frozen. So that just took a little bit of extra time to sort through. Now I'm gonna carry these down to my freeze drying room. I did not bring up my lids, so I'm just gonna take 2 trips and get some extra steps in for the day. Here's how everything looks. I am going to strategically place these on certain shelves in my freeze dryer because I know my bottom shelf takes the longest to get that shelf fully freeze dried. So the more dense trays I'm gonna put higher. I'm gonna put, I think, the guacamole on the bottom, then chicken, then the soup, and then the pad thai on top. Just as you get to know your freeze dryer, you'll kind of learn these things and you just kind of figure it out as you go, but that's just how I'm gonna do it today. We're all loaded up. The freeze dryer is gonna do its thing. Starts with the freezing process, then moves on to the vacuum drying and all that. You guys, it's such a nice sunny day out today. It has not been sunny, I feel like, in so long. So I think in a little bit, I'm gonna go head out on a walk and I can give you the update on the hunting trip. Well, friends, I didn't end up going on that walk that I said I was gonna do. I helped my husband mow the lawn and then laid in the front yard in the sun for about a half an hour and almost fell asleep. So I will give you his hunting story while I'm bagging up the food, but I wanted to show you who came to visit us in the backyard right now. Gus is back. He just came, walked across my back porch, took a little drink of water from the trampoline, did his business in my grass right there, and then is taking a little snooze. So everyone say hi to Gus. We're happy to see him alive and well. Are we seeing the fall colors back here on the mountain? I mean, it's fall in Alaska right now, and it's starting to look really pretty, even though it's bad signs that winter is coming. It looks pretty. So my machine sensed that the food was done at around the 32-hour mark. That was late last night, and I've been very busy today, so I've just kept extending the time. We're now at like 49 hours or something. So I really need to get this food out of here and bagged up. I've got some plans for how I want to package them. Some I'm thinking I want to do in mason jars and some might be in bags. I don't know, you'll see as I go. I think I'm just gonna pull one tray out at a time and package it that way. So let's get going. While I package up this food, let's talk about this hunting trip. I feel so bad for what happened. It was like a 4 or 5 hour drive out to the area where they were gonna go up to camp to set up all of their stuff. They had to drive through a snowy blizzard, and that was already eventful by the time they got to where they were going. It at least was just raining, not snowing anymore. But there's this river that they have to cross in their side-by-sides that was like 1.5 to 2 feet higher than it usually is because of all the rain that they had had. And apparently when trying to cross the river, a side-by-side got swept down and their meat trailer got ripped off of one of the side-by-sides and ended up on the other side of the river. And it was a whole thing of them trying to pull the other side-by-side out of the river. Nate actually had to get a line and get into the freezing cold river to hoist himself over to the other side-by-side to connect it to their tow winch thingy to be able to pull the other one out. And it just sounded miserable and crazy. Both the side-by-sides ended up with damages and they weren't able to make it to where the camp was. So they had to turn around and come home, which was so unfortunate. This was supposed to be such a fun experience for him, and it ended up being ruined. It actually ended up being a blessing in disguise because once he got home, the next day had really horrible stomach pains. He couldn't even walk. I made him go to the emergency room and he had a really bad intestinal infection. And so if that would have happened while he was up there, it would have been very bad and, miserable for him. So, I mean, the timing worked out, but still it all just was such a bummer. So he's been home recovering and slowly getting better. Poor guy. That's the hunting trip story. So now we've got all those MRE meals. Hopefully he'll be able to use them at some time. I mean, what a bummer. It is time to do some maintenance on my machine. I need to change my oil. I need to clean the inside because it's getting dirty again. I've been trying to let this defrost naturally instead of using the defrost function because what I find myself doing a lot is hitting the defrost button and it takes 2 hours for the machine to defrost. And then I forget about it and it stays powered on for days until I come down here and realize my freeze dryer is still on, which I just don't like to have it powered up if I don't have to when I'm not using it. So now I've just been doing no defrost, leaving the door open so it'll defrost on its own, and then just turning my machine off as soon as I'm done with it. I feel like that's better for me and less, energy waste on the machine itself. I'm so happy with how easy these were to package up. I didn't even use my food funnel today. It wasn't in my freeze drying room. I think it's upstairs from when I washed it. And I didn't make too big of a mess. Everything was packaged up easily. My favorite bags are these ones that I get on Amazon because they stand up, they hold a lot of food. One of my viewers sent me these MRE bags, which I absolutely love. Thanks, Bill, you're the best if you are watching this. But they're like individual meals. This is the double meal size, which was a nice size for my pad thai. And I just wrote on here that it's chicken pad thai, the date, and then that it's 2 servings and I need to add noodles or rice to this for it to be a complete meal. So I like to leave myself notes because we know me and I always forget instructions and what to do with the food that's in my bags. Squash soup, I didn't leave any details. I just know that this is a little quart container from Costco. Was it a quart or a pint? I don't know. And I'll just add water to it and I eyeball things. I eyeball everything. I forgot to weigh my trays to know exactly how much water to put in, but I don't care. I just eyeball it and it has always turned out fine. My chicken, I like to keep in jars so that I see it and I know that it's there. I don't need to label it because I can see it. And then I like to put this mostly in soups or chili, like white chicken chili. This is so good. And I just dump it in and you've got fresh, delicious, moist chicken without having to cook anything. And then over here on my avocado, the pucks were too wide to fit through the wide mouth mason jar, so I broke them in half. So when I go to use them, I'll just pull out however many pieces I want, add water until it's the consistency that I like, and then we will have delicious guacamole whenever we want it without any waste. And I'll just re-vacuum seal the top anytime I open it so that they stay nice and fresh. Same with the chicken. If I don't use all the chicken in one setting, I'll vacuum seal it and then use the rest at another time. I would say today was quite a success, which I am thrilled about. This was really fun. I was able to get a ton of food from my prepper stash without having to do any prep. So thank you, Costco. I love Costco. So our neighbor and his dad were able to head back out hunting this week. Nate couldn't go because he's got to be back to work, unfortunately. And we're hoping they will still share some moose with us if they get one. I'll have to keep y'all posted on the moose as I hear. Thank you so much for watching. If you're not subscribed to Freeze Dry Society and you love learning all things about my favorite machine, my freeze dryer, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, follow along. You'll see all the fun stuff that I do around here. If you're in the market to purchase a freeze dryer, check the link in my video description below. That'll take you to Harvest Dry. You can see what they're offering. They currently have free shipping, which is a huge perk. Mine is a size medium and it's perfect. I love it. Remember, friends, when you freeze dry today, you secure your tomorrow. See you next time.